Hi everyone. This is the seventh episode of our Founders Diary, done by Prasetia with collaboration with Setiadharma. And just a little bit for some people who have not joined us before. Why Founders Diary? We understand that building a company can be a lonely journey. While there are definitely joys of entrepreneurship, there are also significant challenges. In our Founders Diary series, we ask founders about what their days look like and reflect on what they discovered during the process. So today, I will moderate this webinar with my brother, my twin brother, Ardi Setiadharma. We founded our own company in 2008, and starting 2013 and eventually 2016, we start investment in a lot of technology startups. And today, we want to feature two of our investment in Singapore. So about the speakers, I want to introduce both of them today. First one is Aashish Mehta, the co-founder and CEO of TransferFi. TransferFi is creating the world's first long-range, safe, and efficient wireless power network. It will be used to power Industry 4.0 sensors to reduce wiring complexity and high-power applications that will provide easy access to primary sources of energy, such as remote renewable and power transfer for space technology. The vision of TransferFi is to provide access to wireless power to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Hi, Aashish.
Hello. Thank you.
And then second one, Anthony Chow, co-founder and CEO of Igloohome. A bit about Igloohome. Igloohome is the market-leading secure access management company for smart infrastructure and properties. We design keyless access solutions for smarter homes and smarter cities. Using our unique proprietary algo PIN technology, our smart locks can operate remotely without the need for Wi-Fi connectivity, unlike existing products in the market. Leveraging on this, we also have an enterprise-focused line, Iglooworks, for remote monitoring and management of access for infrastructure providers, smart city developers, and more. Our products allow for simple, safe, and smart access management across homes and different industries like telco, utilities, real estate, and more. Today, our products are sold in over 100 countries globally. The company is headquartered in Singapore with 13 regional offices. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Arya. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, Aashish and Anthony. So, without further ado, please, Aashish, introduce yourself and about your background, probably about TransferFi, if you can explain better than what I already said before.
Sure, definitely. Thank you so much for the time, and also thank you very much for everyone taking the time to listen in and giving us the opportunity to also talk about our company. Well, my name is Aashish, and I'm a co-founder of TransferFi. I'm actually working with Dr. Reza Vadadi on the technology side for TransferFi itself. Now, as a company, what we do is we actually create long-range, safe, and efficient wireless power transfer technology. The reason why we started creating that is to be able to provide access to power to anyone, anywhere, at any time, and be able to help society move forward in terms of power distribution. That is the core aim. But obviously, to get there and have that large vision of being able to distribute power, we decided to work on something much more closer to the technology, which is Industrial IoT. We see that IoT is an area where, as a society, as humanity, need to move forward in terms of autonomy. We need to depend a lot more on sensors, depend a lot more on digitization, and turn our physical space around us into a digital economy, essentially. And for that to happen, we found that IoT is quite difficult to implement overall because of wiring infrastructure, because of battery technology. It's all quite expensive. It's not very scalable. So we saw that wireless power transfer is a way to be able to scale IoT without the need for changing or maintaining batteries or even cables. So we already deployed to multiple sites, MNCs such as like Schneider Electric and few smart building companies to manufacturing sites on monitoring systems that usually would be wired, because you can't really put battery in most of these. And we were able to wirelessly power them and get all the information and data pretty quickly. So we were able to reduce costs by 50%, reduce deployment time by 80%, which is huge for the company. And it's super exciting to be able to actually show such a new technology area, such as wireless power transfer, in an area where there's a massive need. Because 60% of industrial IoT goes into cabling. That's 60% of the cost goes to cabling installation, and we can remove that massive chunk. So it's exciting, and I'd love to be able to talk more about it as we go through the Q&A, I suppose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aashish. So, Anthony.
Sure. Thanks, Arya. Yeah. So hi everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to be here again. So my name is Anthony. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Igloohome. We are headquartered based in Singapore, and we design a range of smart door locks, padlocks, as well as key boxes that anyone can basically install in your house or in anywhere to be able to remotely grant access to someone to access the property. We have two brands in the company. One of them is called Igloohome, which is focused on the residential market. Another one is called Iglooworks, where Iglooworks is focused on the industrial applications, where we call the professional end user setting. So just to give you guys a quick glimpse about the kind of solutions that we have, you can see my screen here. On one side, we design a range of smart hardware. So you can see these locks that you can install on your door. This is the one with a handlebar, and these are padlocks that you can secure pretty much anything, like infrastructure, door, a warehouse, a truck, rooftop access, a facilities manager, depending on what you look at. And we develop our own, mobile application as well as enterprise dashboard. They communicate with our locks via a series of communication protocols that I think we can talk about later on. Using cellular technology, Bluetooth low energy, cryptography algorithms for high security, and stuff like that. And all of this basically enables us to deploy our solutions for large-scale infrastructure management, such as citywide use cases like telco cell tower management, or facilities management that are basically pretty much covering the entire country. So the company started in end of 2015. We will be celebrating our 5th year anniversary in August this year. It was a good milestone. We are half a decade old, and over the past couple of years, we have brought our products to over 100 countries around the world. Today, we have 13 offices globally. Our headquarters is based in Singapore. Our manufacturing base is in Shenzhen in Korea, over in China as well as South Korea. And I mean, the company is about 120 people around the world today. So Prasetia is one of our early supporters. I think they invested in us earlier on in 2017, the period, and we're excited to be on this journey together with them.
Thank you, Anthony. So, without further ado, let's go dive into the questions. So let's start with Anthony. I mean, like the questions are for both of you, but let's start with Anthony. What were you doing before founding this industrial IoT startup, and what did you do previously that influenced you to become entrepreneur?
Sure, sounds good. So before this, I was actually studying in the US. I went to Stanford. I did management science over there and did computer science. And when I was over there, that was kind of my first exposure to entrepreneurship, where I built my first company when I was in the Bay Area, and that didn't go so well, as with everything that you do for the first time. So basically, we pretty much shut it down. I came back to Singapore, and I worked for Singtel. So I was basically a data scientist over there and managing a small team where we were doing personalization for Singtel, especially for their digital assets. So basically, providing insights on how your patterns of usage of your mobile phone could influence your lifestyle and your patterns. And I think at that point in time, back in the days, 2014, 2015, was where this home sharing market was really growing. Airbnb, it was slowly becoming a household name, especially in the US, and starting to come over to Asia. And I really love traveling, right? So I started, doing a little bit of Airbnb with my spare room over in Singapore. And at that point in time, Airbnb was still kind of gray, right? It wasn't completely illegal as it is right now. So I started renting out a room And I realized that there was a very big problem, managing, but just simply passing the keys to the guests, because I was holding a full-time job in Singtel, and my guests could only visit me, in the evenings. And then so that kind of sparked the idea for my for entrepreneurship kind of endeavor, where I realized that with this whole growth in home sharing market, there's going to be a lot of Airbnb hosts all around the world, and beyond that, the vacation rental market is going to be a huge one, where today everyone is using, passing the keys around, and there must be a better way to do it. So we started designing locks. We started designing smart access solutions like smart door locks, and that was kind of the way it started. So we started building our first product back in end of 2015. Tried it out with a couple of Airbnb hosts over in Singapore as well as over in the US. We got very good traction from there. People liked it. People said that we're just paying you just $200, $300 US, which is just 1 month of rent. I kind of can get rid of the need for physical keys and passing keys around, which every time I pass a key, it costs me, $50 or $30 to $50, depending on where you are, especially in a more mature market like in the US. It costs you much more to just get someone to pass keys. And the savings is quite significant. And so that was when we realized that, there's this huge opportunity, and we incorporated the company. I left Singtel in end of 2015. And that was kind of how we started. Yeah.
So it was more like your own pain point, right? And then you develop that idea, and then
That's right. Yeah, it was really born out from my own pain point of me and some of my friends, where we started the company together. And I think when even though you had the initial idea and initial problem that you wanted to solve, how the company is today is very different from how we imagined it to be from the beginning, where we were really just looking to design solutions for Airbnb hosts to make them host better. Today, the range of keyless access solutions that we design is very wide ranging, and we've kind of dared to dream a lot bigger, where our vision statement today is really to create a world without keys. Anywhere where you're using a physical key, we want to replace it and completely go keyless. And which is, I mean, right now as we're deploying citywide kind of projects, I completely see where Aashish solution is really so useful, where I can don't worry about wiring, don't worry about battery, I can do wireless power, and I think it's amazing. Yeah.
so
Mhm.
you did not imagine that Igloohome will be exploring to like the industrial, right?
No, no, not at all. I think at the beginning was really focusing on a vacation rental host, and I think where we were the idea for us at the beginning was really try to identify a niche market and do well in the market. And so before we expand to something else, and at the point in time, Airbnb was the dominant player, and they still are pretty much pre-COVID, right? In this whole home sharing market, and so we were very razor focused on just securing one partnership, and we were with Airbnb, because that will be kind of like our huge channel to get to the market, the solutions that we made. And so we were pretty lucky that in end of 2016 we managed to sign a global partnership with Airbnb out from the San Francisco office, and from there, we kind of were able to start building up, our distribution partners all around the world, and as we went along, the solutions that we designed was very much focused on enabling people to go into their house remotely. And so as we started thinking more, right, where else can we deploy these keyless access solutions in distributed assets, in a wide ranging space, and we realized that the industry application is actually pretty huge. And you can imagine, my previous company when I worked at is Singtel. You just imagine Singtel having all these cell towers and network infrastructure that they maintain across the entire country to set up your 4G or 5G network. Or Ericsson, building all these new 5G cabinets that are being built in the market today. And all of them require a way to secure the cabinet because it deals with security. And today the keys are being stored, somewhere central, and there's a lot of keys. And so as we went along, we realized that this was also a huge problem. And in a way, my background from Singtel kind of, gave me that, gave the company the inspiration, that we jumped into this whole infrastructure solution, a large, scalable access solution which is more industrial grade, with data analytics, with different kind of security protocols that we built into our entire system, and therefore Iglooworks was born last year, where we started building this whole brand for smart cities deployment.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yep.
So Ashish, how about you? Like, what were you doing before, and then what influenced you to become entrepreneur? You're still mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, basically, I guess I've always been a company or starting companies, well, for quite a while actually. So previous to TransferFi, I was working on Mandarin, which is basically developing robotic systems. I still do that on the side as a social enterprise. So I was running a social enterprise to be able to develop robotics and IoT systems for elderly or people with physical limitations, or just to be able to help social sort of aspects of things, like mosquito detection, to be able to create heat maps of mosquito population areas and all that stuff. So really what I wanted always to do is to create technology to help people or help society in some way or form. But previous to that, I mean, I've always been in an area of creating in technology, where when I was in I studied in Wisconsin-Madison, which is US. I started 3 companies there, and they're all engineering based. I basically created some technology and tried to figure out how to start a company out of it. And so I've always enjoyed creating, but I guess the hard part was trying to figure out how to create something that would really truly add value to society. And so after starting 3 companies, after graduating, I realized that I had to work for an engineering company to fully understand exactly what really goes behind all that work of creating tech. I mean, from the R&D, from product development to software development to the all specific aspects of it. So that's something which I needed to understand, and I knew I couldn't really learn by just starting a company. So I spent about 8 years in National Instruments, Austin, Texas, for about 4 years to focus on IoT systems, embedded systems, RF. I looked a lot into renewable energy as well. So I have a lot of experience areas for working with customers, working with like people within a particle hadron collider. So it's pretty cool. Then I moved to Singapore, which is my home, after about 4 years to head regional roles. So I started doing a lot more management of the engineering teams and marketing teams, being able to look more into the value propositions, the sales cycles, and all that stuff. So I got a very good perspective from the technology point of view, from programming to embedded development to PCBs, all the way down to sales and marketing. So that was what I really needed. So I quit my job in 2015 to start focusing on, again, back to creating tech to add value to society in some way or form. So started Mandarin as a social enterprise and still running in the background to be able to create technology to help people. But around 2017 is when I met my co-founder, Dr. Reza, where I saw a lot of his background was focused, his PhD, his postdoc was all focused on wireless power transfer optimization theory. It's all math. And, we both thought that if there's a way to affect society in a big way, we felt that power was one of the backbones of that, and we could really change how we would do things in the world. 1/7 of the world's population does not have access to power. Offshore renewables are still economically not really possible. And we're still trying to, dream of Industry 4.0. We're still dreaming of smart nations. We're not really quite getting there. We've been talking about this since my first job, actually. I've been talking about IoT since like my first job was 2007. We're talking about IoT and still trying to like break through. And there's core reasons behind it. And if you look at every industrial revolution, power has been the backbone of it. That's one of the triggers. The first is all about steam engines. Second is all about AC distribution. Third is about inverter control systems. Now we're in the fourth. And what's the big change in power? It hasn't been much, right? So this is where power has to change again and be able to really enable the fourth industrial revolution in a big way. And that's what we decided to focus a lot more into the IoT market as a way to enable the fourth industrial revolution, because that's how it starts. And I think that's also one way to be able to split technology. Sometimes you have to also look into technology in terms of evolutionary and revolutionary. Yes, we can always think in a revolutionary perspective, but we have to also look into an evolutionary perspective of what problems you're solving directly. And that's where we saw industrial IoT as a place where 60% of cost goes into cabling installation. I remember my first job was in Kimberly-Clark. I was actually managing, was focusing on a 100-meter fully automated manufacturing line in Menasha, Wisconsin. It was really cold. Actually, it's minus 40 degrees Celsius, minus 35 degrees Celsius there. So it's really cold. I was working in an adult diaper manufacturing facility. So creating diapers, which is interesting. But it's fully automated. And what was interesting is that 1 hour of production is worth $1.6 million. And so just to upgrade one sensor or to be able to digitize one production facility, that's going to be a few weeks, months. And the amount of losses of revenue is just crazy. So to install, I think we had to install about 800 sensors once, and that took about 2 months. And we're talking about massive amounts of cable infrastructure that we had to put together just to put those sensors together. And so those are the background points which I had back from my engineering degree and also working in engineering for such a long time, that cabling is such a painful point, not just in terms of just laying a cable, but cost, downtime, and in being able to also freely be untethered from positioning your thing. So that's where the IoT part came upon for wireless. And so now what we have is actually a pretty cool full solution for a gateway. We have a gateway that's basically powering up IoT sensors around just using radio frequencies. It's not really doing anything different really. It's just a specific signal is created, and these devices are able to pick it up, power up sensors, and send the data back. So we handle both power and data, and we've deployed in quite a few different areas, which is quite cool. We can show you some pictures later on as well, and I think that should give you a better idea. Now, yeah, so that's sort of the story of getting to what we are doing right now. In terms of influence of entrepreneurship, I think I just wanted to create something or create things to be able to help people or help society. And if I can figure out how to survive doing that, that's great. I think that's probably the best way to put it.
I think the fact that you already started something back in Madison, Wisconsin, was that proof, right? That eagerness was there already. It's just a matter of finding the right product and the right industry, I guess, right?
Yeah, finding value. I think finding value was always the tough part because I always like to create things. I mean, I'm a tinkerer. I make my own beer at home. I make my own musical instruments. I roast my own coffee. I don't know. I just love to create. If I can create something, I'll be in peace, right? So, but now obviously we have to create something that would be valuable to your time and also to society, and that's what I was always in search for.
Okay. Thank you, Aashish.
Next question. Can you elaborate on the challenges you faced in the first few months of building the company? How long did it take for you to arrive at the final iteration of the product? Let's start with Aashish.